Hi and welcome to another Sonic Academy tech tip. This time I'm going to be showing you a little trick for build-ups using Ableton's frequency shifter plugin. So first of all I'll show you we've got the rough layout of a bit of a techno track here. Kind of drops to a bit of a break there. And back into the groove there. Fairly straightforward stuff at the moment, but this break could do with a bit more distinction and sort of a bit more of a build to it really. So first of all, it's dropping to just bottom end at the moment, so I'm going to leave a bit more of the percussion in and change a few things around. So if we solo all our bottom end stuff, so that in this case is these two kick channels here, this bass group here, and this bassy hit here. So they're the parts that are making up the bass on this track. We create a new audio track down here, set the input for that track to resampling, record arm it, and at the start of our break, which is here, hit record and play. That's enough. There's actually very little variation in that, so I could have done a shorter loop, but anyway. So then we've got this take solo off on these, and this is, as you can hear, just a rendered down version of all the bass. So for the distance of the break, now we can delete all these, delete all the bits of bass that are in there, and just use this instead. So let's have a listen to that. And to mark the distinction of the break, I'm going to put a bit of, just before we listen to it through, going to put a high pass onto this bounced bit here. So we've got just the some of the bottom end taken out. So there you go, it sounds like it's dropping to a break of sorts there. One way of moving it through the break would just be to automate the high pass, which we'll probably do. But that's kind of, fairly straightforward. Just sounds like someone doing it on a DJ mixer kind of thing. Whereas a more interesting effect is to use the frequency shifter. And what we can do with this, if you listen to it 100% wet with all the settings flat, it's just as it was. But if we start manoeuvring the frequency dial here, you can hear that it kind of sounds quite interesting. So if we leave that as it is, this wide button here is also quite a cool effect. That makes the amount that's being shifted on the left and right channels slightly different, which gives you a bit of a stereo effect, as you can hear. Kind of a detune. So that can be also quite interesting, an interesting parameter to automate. So if we set these back to 0 and draw a little bit of automation in, as you could hear from that, going up quite a small amount sounds quite dramatic in this sort of context. So we probably don't want the automation to go up too high. So let's go up to kind of there, like 1 kHz. That's probably plenty. And then also automate the dry wet control. So at the start of the break, we get the dry signal, and the sort of pitch shifted one gradually fades in. So let's have a listen to that. So that sounds more or less what we're after. And you can see I just adjust it slightly there because it is quite a full-on effect. So you can kind of afford to back off on the mix a little bit. And as you can see here, what looks like a relatively small bit of movement on there actually is quite dramatic. So then let's automate the width parameter that I was talking about before as well. So maybe from halfway through, start detuning it just to make it sound a bit wilder. So that's kind of cool. And then maybe just to make it a little bit more of a builder, we'll add a little ping pong delay on here as well. Just on, say, 3/16, round about here, a little bit of feedback, and just automate the dry wet on that. As you can hear that, you can hear it going from recognisably the rhythm of the track into sort of just a build-up noise, really. So if we then drop that down there so it cuts dead, and listen to that all the way through, and that should have made what was otherwise a fairly plain drop down to something quite interesting. So yeah, there you go. That's how to use Live's frequency shifter to create some interesting build-ups in techno. Hope you enjoyed the tutorial, and we'll see you again.